adjust the frames. Got keys to kingdom, unlocking chains. Sober the podcast, open up your brains. Sober the podcast, let's get it, man. Yeah.
Welcome back to Season 4 of Sober the Podcast with your host, Bradley Saxon, Mr. C.J. Carlton, and Steven Sanders in the house.
Glad to be here.
Let's go. Let's give them some applause.
Go.
Yes, sir. Back in the lab.
Yep.
So, as we continue talking about step one, before we do, we're going to do two things. We're going to do our three-pointer icebreaker. We're going to pick a guy off of the Patreon app and ask him a question, and CJ's going to shoot some shots, and then we're going to pray.
Yeah.
I remember
Are we?
we were reminded from the first episode that we had made a decision to pray, and as alcoholics are so inconsistent, we missed undisciplined. We're claiming progress at a perfection, and we're gonna pick up on this episode 6 maybe.
Yeah.
And we're gonna start back praying.
Yeah.
And so please make allowance for our mistakes as we move forward, because we may not pray again to the end. But without further ado, I think we should potentially let's call Bruce Monroe, all the way out in San Antonio, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a Trailblazer subscriber to the Patreon app, and he's been giving us great feedback. And so we'll call him and ask him a question.
Let's do it.
And if he can get the question right, you'll have 3 opportunities to win him some merchandise.
Yeah.
Do we know a question? I haven't even considered a question. I mean,
I still like the how many in the first 100, but
we can try that. And what we'll do is if you don't get it right, so what's the question? In the first 100 men and women,
how many were there really?
How many were there really? Yeah. And if he doesn't get that right, which I think he may, we'll ask him a backup question, okay?
Yeah.
And see. So here we go. The call failed. That's not good.
Come on, Bruce.
I don't know if it was on Bruce's end.
It's always been on Bruce.
Always been on Bruce.
Hello.
Bruce Monroe.
Yes, sir.
What's up, buddy? Bradley Saxon, CJ in the house, Mr. Steven calling you live from Sober the Podcast.
Bruce.
How you doing?
What's up?
Good. We're carrying on our tradition of the three-pointer this season. It looks a little different, but here's what you got to do. If you can answer one question right, you give CJ 3 shots. If you answer right, CJ makes a shot. We'll send you whatever kind of Bridge or Sober the Podcast merchandise that you choose, okay?
Okay.
All right, here's the question. Out of the first 100 men and women, how many really were there that wrote the book?
It was in the I've heard the 60s and 73, I think I heard.
Okay, you got that wrong, Bruce.
That's not bad.
No, it's pretty good.
See, Bruce, if you hear that sound, that means that you got it wrong.
Yeah, I know.
But hold on. We got another question.
Okay.
We're gonna give you another option. That's a little tricky question.
It is.
But if you hear this sound, Bruce, that means you got it right. Okay, so I'm gonna try one more time. Okay. What was the name of the hotel in Akron that Bill Wilson picked up the phone and
Mayflower
Hotel?
Yeah.
Let's go, Bruce.
All right, Bruce.
and by the way, Christopher Columbus wasn't on the Mayflower.
Well,
Yes, he was, Bruce.
You were
Yes, he
definitely
was.
been listening. We appreciate your support, and he definitely wasn't on the Mayflower. All right,
Bruce.
CJ,
You believe in me,
Hey,
Bruce?
you need to encourage him. He's about to shoot your shot.
I don't know. I've seen him shoot, man. He might need 4 shots.
Oh, dang,
man.
bro.
He's been listening.
He's been listening.
Bruce, keep it up. Next time you call me, I ain't answering.
He made the first one, Bruce. He made the first one. Congratulations, Bruce. Again, thank you for being a subscriber on our Patreon app. We love you, dude, and somebody will be with you this week on sending you whatever you want, okay?
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
for
sir.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye, Bruce. How about that? CJ
Let's
with
go.
with the first bucket, winning our got some free merchandise. I'm gonna need you to miss a few of them. We're gonna
I'm
run
just
out.
saying.
We're gonna run out of merchandise.
JT's not happy about that.
JT,
Yeah.
he's the only one that didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's the first one.
He said we might have to call him again.
Yeah, we might have to
Yeah.
call him again. But yeah, man, welcome back to season 4. Hope you've enjoyed this journey. We're gonna pray, and then we're gonna jump in back to the technicalities of step 1. I think we did a good job of outlining the 3 goals that we're trying to reach in 12-step recovery, but we want to make sure that we take each step in sequence and that we explain them in a way that our listener can understand, right? All right, let's pray. Here's the prayer. Lord, we just pray that you set aside everything we think we know about you, this program, and ourselves, God, and that you afford us a new experience, God, because we know there's one who is all-powerful, and that one is God, and you've suggested that we find him now
Yeah.
Yes.
within those finger snaps. So, Lord, we just pray that you would just, in this next however long that you see fit that we speak, God, that we would find you now, that you would reveal yourself to us in a new way, in a real way, Lord, that you would reveal yourself to our listeners, Lord, that they may grow in their knowledge and their understanding of you and their willingness to grow, to apply this to their life, Lord, as they leave this would be greater. And we pray this, Lord, in your Son's name, Jesus. And all the listeners said, amen.
Amen.
Amen. So let me say this, as we were doing our big book study, which if you're listening to this and you're not a Patreon subscriber, you have been missing out because CJ and I have been walking didactically through the big book from cover, and I don't know if we'll go to cover, but we're definitely going to hit the first 164 pages.
Right.
But as we were doing our last big book study, something that I've read before that hit me this time, I think is very fitting for what we're doing. And in the big book, the 4th edition, XXII, there's a statement made in the 4th to the 3rd edition that I really like. It says, the 12 steps that summarize the program.
Yeah.
So this is where we get somewhere somebody hung the 12 steps on the wall, but they forgot to hang the instructions up there with them.
Right.
So if you've been to an AA meeting and you've walked in, every AA meeting has the 12 steps hanging on the wall and the 12
That's right.
12 traditions.
That's right.
Well, those 12 steps on the wall are not the program.
Right.
They summarize the program.
Yep.
Right.
That is found in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so this is really why we are doing this in sequence, because we want to explain the program that comes out of the book to the listener to have a better understanding of the objective of AA.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think the main thing I think about when I went, because CJ and I are just getting back from Akron, we went and visited a lot of AA historical sites, got re-fired up about the program that saved our life. But I think about this one thing as when we opened like this original manuscript that they had prior to writing the big book, like there was one thing that stuck out to me that was in bold letters: to show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not found on a wall step.
Yeah.
No.
Right? Because there's 13 words in the first step on the wall.
Yep.
And there's 43 pages in the big book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which one do you get more information out of?
Definitely 43 pages.
43
man.
pages,
Yep.
right?
yeah.
And so I think the purpose of what we're doing is to explain our understanding of the steps which we took
Yeah.
to recover,
Yeah.
right? To show other precisely is a word using there that is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think so.
As a matter of fact, we got this new little thing we can do in this season. Siri, tell us what precisely means. There's no way Siri has fumbled the ball on the very,
Siri.
very first episode
Step your game up, kid.
that we decided on the main platform to use.
Come on, Siri.
Or it could have been Bradley. It definitely
on,
may
Bradley.
not have been serious. It was definitely serious. I don't understand. We'll try that later, but precisely is exactly what it sounds
Yeah.
like. You know, it's this is how we did it. Let's not veer away from these clear cut instructions, right?
That's right.
And so that's what we want to do, but we want to do it in an informational type way,
Yeah.
to where the listener can leave with a better knowledge and understanding. And also people who are trying to help sponsor. This is going to be a great tool for men who have recovered and are attempting to carry the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully our experience, strength, and hope can help you in learning some ways to better serve other people, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So let's take the first part of step one and let's talk about it, okay? Because we understand the first goal in 12-step recovery is to identify the problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. We believe that's one of the most important things,
Yes.
if not the most important thing that you do in 12-step recovery.
Yep.
Because we like to say half truth is no truth at all.
That's right.
And so if you're operating on half of the truth of the problem, you're going to spin your wheels.
Yep.
Yep.
You might make a lot of movement, but make no progress.
Yeah.
Right.
So we believe in order to solve a problem, you got to fully understand it, right?
Yes.
Because that is what is directly proportionate to understanding the solution.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so the first part of step one says we admitted we were powerless
Yes.
over alcohol.
Yep.
Right.
So let's talk about what it looks like according to the book for an alcoholic to be powerless over alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about this in the last episode, and I think it's imperative that we understand that in these next few sessions, episodes, whatever you call them, it's important that you know that you're probably going to hear some of the same things over and over again.
Absolutely.
As you should.
As you should, because we call it the drip method.
Yeah.
And the thing about moving something from your head to your heart is repetition.
Yes.
You've got to hear it over and over.
Yeah.
And this information don't change. We may share from three guys different perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
but our spirit is the same, and really the way we were raised up in this program is the same. And so you're going to find we're going to probably say the same thing, just in a few different,
Yep.
just in a little different language.
Yeah.
But it's important that these couple episodes sound very familiar, because step one, the understanding, delivers you
Yeah.
to step two.
That's right.
Because we believe each step taken properly delivers you to the next.
Yes.
And a lot of times, like we spoke on our live event the other night, one of the greatest problems in 12-step recovery is not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? We can always boil it down to a
Always.
step one problem,
Yeah.
right? And so as we try to obtain this goal of understanding or identifying the problem, here's what I'll leave with us, and then give you guys some time to share it. That a lot of times, and I shared this before, we start as sponsors helping others in the 7th chapter, because it's called Working with Others, and it's a good way to look at their experience of how they felt was effective in reaching other people.
Yeah.
And I realized there was no way for me to ever fully understand my alcoholism and my alcoholic problem without another man armed with the facts about himself and this solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because this alcoholism in one facet teaches me, it don't really explain to me what it teaches me, but it shows me a part of what is the problem. But it was only a man who carried this message to me that helped me to see what drinking and using never could show me.
Yes.
Right.
Which we will get to later on.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand, man, that if we're going to identify the problem concerning alcoholism, we're going to need help.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to need another man that's had a spiritual awakening, that's carrying this message, to share that with me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the case concerning step one. So let's talk about this allergy. Why they've heard us mention it. We've talked about it. But let's talk about what that looks like in our lives, what it looked like in your life, to maybe give a description to help people understand a little bit about when we talk about allergy and we talk about alcohol, that's usually something that is peculiar, because when we think of allergy, we've never really related it to alcohol. So
right.
let's talk a little bit about that right now.
Well, in the doctor's opinion, it makes it very clear to me that the body of the alcoholic is quite as abnormal as his mind. So I think, just to preface what we're about to talk about, we think about these ideas in this, that we're human beings and we exist in three parts. We are a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body.
Yeah.
In addiction and in alcoholism, all three aspects of the human being have been affected.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we have to understand. The body, the physical body of an alcoholic is quite as abnormal as his mind. This is the part that I never knew. I knew that my thinking was jacked up.
Yeah.
It was obvious. Like, the evidence of my life was clear. Every time I said I wasn't going to do it again, I did it again. And I didn't understand that this physical factor, if left untaught or not understood, would leave the recovery incomplete.
Yeah.
And so the book makes it clear, and it starts off, in the doctor's opinion, teaching me what's wrong with me concerning my physical body. That if I am an alcoholic, there's a 100% chance I have formed an allergy, which is a phenomenon of craving. I've always likened this to, when you taught me this, it made sense concerning, I have an allergy to black cherries. The first time I ate black cherries, my face swelled up and I freaked out. I thought I was going to die. I drank a whole bottle of Benadryl. I felt better. But nobody ever had to
Convince you not to eat black cherries again.
No,
Right.
so I was taught that based on my own experience with these black cherries. And so when you taught me about the allergy, I liken that to that allergy, although it's different, it's the same, because that allergy to black cherries has happened outwardly. The allergy that I have to chemicals and alcohol happens inwardly. I can't see it, but nobody ever told me that until I was ready to hear it. And so this allergy that I suffer with is not something that has anything to do with behavior. It doesn't have anything to do with morals. It doesn't have anything to do with Jesus. Right. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that. It has to do with either you're born with the allergy and you're predisposed to it, so it's in your DNA, and whenever you drink, you set off this allergy and it's inward, you can't see it. Or you've drank and drugged enough to where you have created this allergy, and it is defined as a phenomenon of craving. And we talked about this on pretty good length in the last episode, but there's things that happen inwardly inside of me that block certain chemicals in my brain that cause me to want to crave more.
Yeah.
And this is something that I never knew.
Yeah. Well,
You know-
I like the fact that you said, you can't see the allergy. And most of the time, you don't know you have an allergy to anything until you consume whatever that thing is,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And for us, the allergy is invisible, but the manifestation that we never put together with the word allergy was this want for another and another and another, which you
Yes.
described as the phenomenon of craving. Like, it didn't, because think about it, bro. Like, you eat black cherries, your throat swells shut, your face, like, that's clear. Like, there's a problem,
Yeah.
right? And I think in the beginning, bro, like, you never really drink one, intend to drink one, end up drinking 20,
Yeah.
and really think, man, I have an allergy
Yeah.
Yeah.
to alcohol.
Never
you
crossed
never
my
really
mind.
think that, but
you know what was taught to me in that moment is I can't eat black cherries again, which then speaks to another truth. And we're going to get to that, but my mind could see the truth
Right.
concerning my relationship with black cherries. So I wasn't broken in my mind concerning that because I've never ate black cherries again. I've never tried black cherry water. I've never tried to figure out how to drink it or eat it a different way. I made the decision that day that I'm never going to do this again based on my reaction.
well, here's the truth. When it comes to black cherries, you're not insane.
Right. Yes.
Right? You have the willpower
Yes.
to say no.
Yes.
Right? And so this is why I love talking about this, because when you think about the allergy of the body concerning alcoholism, you really break it down into this idea that once I understand, once I start, I don't know when I'm going to stop because of this allergy, this craving.
Yeah.
That's where you start to learn that there's something greater wrong with me.
Yes.
That I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because every time I don't want to drink because I know it burns me, I do it anyway.
Yeah. So I think that we had this. I can't remember exactly how much we talked about it, but as we said, it's important to repeat all this stuff. So, you know, what was really important to me was that I'm arrogant and I think I know what an allergy is. You know, and so I needed somebody to explain to me first that it's an abnormal reaction. That's just another way that a doctor would describe something that doesn't occur in everybody else. And so then but the problem for me is that I only know my reaction. So I have to begin to look at what we would consider normal reactions to discover, do I have this abnormal reaction? Because if y'all were like me, you ultimately ended up only hanging out with people that drank and used like you, and you got rid of the other people. So now it just looks normal, right? And so some of the examples that I always use is like, I imagine I would go home and I would buy, you've probably gone and bought a 10-pound roll of ground beef before. And when I got home, I know how much it takes to make each meal. So I would literally get me out 5 or 6 Ziploc bags, and I'd cut it up into sections for my appropriate meals, and I'd put them off in the freezer. Now, that is a person that intends to separate the meat into multiple meals
and eat it in multiple sections
and eat it in multiple separate occasions, right? And then, but I went through years of knowing that I lose control when I start, so I would put these little things in place, like I would buy my bag of dope or whatever, and I would literally get 2 separate baggies out and put it in there. And this one's for today, and this one's for in the morning. And meanwhile, I'd have somebody normal around me, like a girlfriend or somebody, yelling, "Why are you even putting it in 2 bags? You know you're going to do the whole thing." But I had clear intention. Like I even went out and bought one of those Sunday through Saturday pill dispensers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And like from the thrift store. Like that's my logical one half of my mind saying we've got to have some sort of control on this situation. So I'd take my meth and I'd put it, you know, the sizes I liked into each little Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And ultimately by Tuesday they're empty. And I think I just changed my mind. But I've got to get back to which part of my mind did I change? That is a very abnormal reaction.
Yeah.
The other one I always use is I remember only in looking back and only with working through other alcoholics do I get to see some of these revelations. But I think back to high school or the years after that when I drank a lot and I would split a case of beer with somebody. And it never really occurred to me that they didn't mind that I drank 14 and they only got 7.
Yeah.
You know, and I try to get them to keep up with me, but
They wouldn't.
But they don't.
They
yeah.
don't.
If I realize that Bradley drank 14 while I only got, I'm furious.
Yeah.
And I need to ride back to the store.
But they're not.
No, they
People
don't
think
They
that
don't
way.
think that way. They don't think if I have 8 more beers, now's the time to get on stage and sing Journey or Foreigner or whatever, like, because I'll do better then. You know, this is a very abnormal reaction. Like, here's the other one. I drive better, I think, when I've had a few drinks.
Oh, 100%.
My parents go, I've had a few drinks. Maybe you should drive me home, honey.
Yep.
You know, that is to me an abnormal reaction.
Yeah.
But in reality, mine is the abnormal reaction. I think I can drive better. I mean, the handle turns better. Everything.
It's funny because I remember being homeless and I had my vehicle. My dad bought it for me, but no money to maintenance it. I mean, there was a system in it, radio, that was a lot more expensive than the car. The brakes were metal to metal. The gear shifting tube was broke.
yeah.
I had to reach up under the dash to even put it into gear, right? Tires were bald. You could see metal shavings. And so one day I'm out of drugs. I don't have anything. And I decide that maybe I should get rid of my car and swap it for some kind of opiate, right?
Yeah.
And so I found a guy, he gave me 30 morphine pills, and I traded my car for it. And this is what I did. I took you remember back in the day when you would get Philly blunts, they would come in them hard tubes?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I cut some of them tubes off at the bottom, and I got 30. And I said, okay, I'm going to take 4 a day,
Yep.
you know, for the next several days and separate these into containers like you're saying, because this was exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Because when I drink, I don't drink to... I mean, maybe I can say at times to drink to get drunk, but there was times where I really just wanted to get a sense of ease and comfort,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that was my objective of using and drinking, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so I remember breaking down 3 or 4 of them. You know, I didn't really like taking them. I like to snort them, break them down and snort them, right? Well, by the end of the night, I've done taken all these other containers, broke them down because we had a party with our buddies, and I'm crushing it up so everybody can snort them.
Yeah.
And I
Yes,
wake up
Lord.
the next day with no pills, no car.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did not start off that night with the intentions to do it all.
Yeah.
Of course.
That is where, when I got to AA and I read that allergy, and I took times in my life to where
Yeah.
what they're explaining was my life,
Yeah.
that's when I brought it from my head to my heart.
Yeah.
That's when it come further than information. That's when
Yeah.
I started to comprehend the truth of, based on my experience, I have this allergy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's that's a big part of step one. Like, you've got to not obtain this as head knowledge. Like, you need to put your life experience
Yes.
and diagnose yourself.
Yes.
Because if you have the allergy, there is no cure and it ain't going away.
Yep.
And it's very important that you know, that you can see to your innermost self that you're alcoholic, because there is no return back from this habit once you form it.
Yeah.
And so that means every time that I use drugs or alcohol, I'm going to do more than I intend. I am not going to have control over the amount I take. And no matter how much I love God and been consistent for 3 months, when I use, I turn into a different person,
Yes.
and you're probably not going to see me for a while.
Yeah.
So I've got to smash this delusion,
Yeah.
but you can't smash the delusion that I'm not like other people if I can't accept the fact or admit in step one that I have this allergy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the trouble that I ran into with that, and this is why I would mention this, because I know there are people like me that maybe think too much.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm willing to say when I get here that I'm just going to agree with whatever you say. I need your help. You're going to tell me I have an allergy. I'm going to go, yep.
Yeah.
But here, I sat in meetings for the first time I tried to get sober, and I heard people say, if one drink and it's off to the races. And I nodded my head and I agreed. But somewhere inside of me, I knew that wasn't true. So I'm thankful for a man that didn't, he would ask me, do you think you have an allergy? Yeah, I do. Okay, tell me what you mean. And he would say things like, do you lose control every time you drink? And I would go, yep, because I think that's the right answer. But inside of me, I know that's not necessarily the case. Part of me was going, well, I mean, when I need to get to my daughter's birthday party, I could control it. If I had to stop for probation, I could control it. And I'm always pointing to the times in which I could
It worked.
control it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until he finally said to me, well, let me ask you a question. Do you know, so sometimes you can control it? Yes, absolutely. Sometimes I can. I'm not like them. Okay, great. But sometimes do you also lose control? I said, absolutely. He says, can you tell me which days are which? I don't know which days I lose
You
control,
don't know
which days
which
I don't.
days you're gonna
So then,
lose
therefore, if
control.
you're not in control of the day that you do and the day you don't, then do you have any control at all? And that's really all we're talking about. The allergy is, do I have control once I start?
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. And I do think that in my case, it's funny how we explain this in different perspectives, is I really don't remember ever
Yeah.
being able to drink without doing speed.
Yeah.
Or being able to engage in substance and time actually matter.
Same.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I really do think that there are some people also that identify quickly because they lose all
Oh, yeah.
control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I love the way your perspective is, because that is the way that some people try to convince themselves
Yes.
Yeah.
that they're not one of us.
Yeah.
Because there have been certain times that they've been able to control it,
Yeah.
per se. But I think you're right when saying that it isn't the days that you control it, it's the days that you don't, and you end up doing what you didn't plan on doing,
Yeah.
and you don't know when that day's coming.
That's right.
Which really leaves you out of control. It's
Exactly.
Russian roulette.
Yep. Yep.
And I want to say this because there was this comment on one of our reels this week, come from one of our biggest fans. I'd rather not say his name. But many people that even complete rehab like to try to live in a delusion, or maybe it ain't a delusion, maybe the fact that they're not really alcoholic, that listen to what we share to try to make their experience with not being alcoholic say that what we're sharing is wrong. Here's what I'm trying to explain. If you can go back after rehab and drink a little and not lose control and your life gets better and things are good, I mean, I tip my hat
That's right.
to you.
Absolutely.
Like, do your thing. But here's where I draw the line. You're not one of us.
Yeah.
Therefore, our message don't pertain to you. Therefore, I don't understand why you creep on our page to tell us how great you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, go do your thing. But our message really does pertain to the one that has lost all control
Yeah.
and has formed this allergy And this idea of making them believe that they could go back and safely use is like tying a noose around their neck and giving them an easier, softer way. And I'm just saying, like, I'm glad that's for you, but like, keep your opinion to yourself, because there's some cats that can't do that.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? They have this allergy. Like, in hints of the comment that was said is that everybody that has had this lost control, went to rehab, can go back to being normal. That's a lie.
Right.
If you're a real alcoholic like we were, right?
Yes.
There is no returning back to that normal health concerning your body.
Nope.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Your relationship with chemicals.
Yeah, your relationship with chemicals and all. So I get passionate about that because I ain't spent 20 years of my life carrying a message that I feel like is a fluke.
Right.
Like, I do know that there are people that have an allergy that ensures them death, and there is no coming back from that apart from a spiritual basis.
Yeah.
Probably every one of us was hoping that would be our experience, that we could go back and control.
Well,
that's what the big book says the obsession is.
Yeah.
That
The
one day
great
I'll be able to
obsession.
control it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have a really good friend. You've probably heard this before. I think it's clever, but she says, when I could control it, I couldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And when I enjoyed it, I couldn't control it.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Let me read this real quick that really speaks to what you were just saying. This is from the book. It's not an opinion. We believe, and so suggested a few years ago, this is in the doctor's opinion, that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy, that the phenomenon of craving is limited. So maybe it's not you, but it's limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker or user. These allergic types can never, that word is there, never safely use alcohol in any form at all. And once having formed the habit and found they cannot break it, once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and become astonishingly difficult to solve.
So let me ask you this. That's William D. Silkworth's opinion. Do you think that he spent a lot of years in school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that he sacrificed his time when we were out doing this or that, or they were out doing this or that, finding out more about the body?
Yeah.
He spent time in school and the lab. Yeah.
So when is the last time you went to the doctor and determined your opinion of the problem? Can I talk like this?
Please.
Was greater than the doctor's. Like, it's amazing to me, the people who look at a man that did way more than we did, that knows more about the body than we ever did, that was in a hospital in Akron that was the #1 in the country, right? That devoted their time to these types of problems, would give this opinion, and it not be something worth exploring or believing or it being weight. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to us, and I'm hearing this doctor share this, most of the time when I go to the doctor, by that time, I'm ready to do whatever he takes or whatever he says. Right? And so when it comes to his opinion, he's a doctor. Like, this ain't just some normal person that's giving me their opinion. This man has done a lot of other studies. And they seen it fit for him to write this opinion in the book. That is not that even in 1976, we're not talking about 2021 when the 4th of the, I'm talking about 1976, if I'm not mistaken, where there was now in 90 countries 1 million people in the fellowship. Like, this man is writing an opinion in the front of this book. Like, it needs to be noted as factual.
Ultimately, it was proven factual not long after that.
So I think I just think it's very important to understand, man, that the alcoholic is sick in his body. And obviously we will move forward in talking about the crux of the problem. But in this part of step 1 concerning the allergy, that it's real. Like, there are men and women who cannot drink and use successfully because they have an abnormal reaction to a common substance. Like, listen, I used to do cocaine with people that would snort cocaine and then want to go home. Like, they wanted to go to sleep. Within an hour, they're asleep. When I snort cocaine, my body opens up and there ain't enough.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, there's some lines in the sand that I am crossing because I'm trying to actually overcome a craving that's beyond my mental control. And if there's an addict, listen, you can agree with there's some things you've done that you would have never done outside of the allergy that you're ashamed of talking about today.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that is not a common reaction to cocaine.
No.
Like there are normal people who snort cocaine.
Yeah.
And they do not go trade their car.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they do not go walk 5 miles in the snow
Yeah.
with no socks on
Yeah.
to smoke crack.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as I look back on the people I partied with, I now know there was some cats with me and we wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I partied till I'm homeless.
Yeah.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There are normal people that partied similar that are seeing a sufficient enough reason to never use it again, had willpower concerning alcohol.
Yep.
I'm not one of them.
That's right.
And there's a reason for this, and there is a greater understanding that we can share. But the truth is you're going to have to tune in next week
Yeah.
to learn about this crux of the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, once I start, I don't know when I'm going to stop. Let's say it like that.
Yeah. That's right.
Because there's sometimes I can stop.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, once I start, I cannot tell you before I start if I'm gonna stop today.
That's right.
Because there's a chance I could be drinking next week this same drink.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
And then there's a chance I might not drink another one and go to my girl's recital, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the underlying issue of the allergy or the God, what's a good word? I know the word. I teach it all the time. A description
Yeah.
of the allergy
Yeah.
would be once I start,
I can't stop.
I can't stop. And let's just say it like this. Once I start, I don't really know
Yeah.
Right.
when I'm going to stop,
Game
right?
on.
That is a part of step one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that is not what the book calls the crux of the problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's what I leave you with. If you've known for years that once you start, you don't
Yeah.
know when you're going to stop,
There's an answer for that.
there's an answer for that.
Yes.
And here's the truth. I've never burnt my hand on a stove
Yeah.
and decided next week it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I have the willpower to remember
Yeah.
the pain that caused me last week, 2
Yes.
weeks, a year ago. I'm not going and touching that again.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
But you know
Yeah.
that every time you drink and use, it burns you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the $100 million question is given those facts
Yeah.
and that experience.
Yes.
Why you keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Peace.
Shoo!